In the fictional narrative, the workplace incident serves as the inciting event, setting the stage for the dramatic escalation that follows. A black woman, presumably an employee in a professional or corporate environment, is subjected to a humiliating and disrespectful act when her colleagues throw Coca-Cola on her. This act is not a random prank, but a deliberate and targeted display of hostility, likely motivated by prejudice or personal animosity. The setting could be an office, a retail space, or a similar workplace, where interpersonal dynamics and power imbalances are at play. The act of throwing Coca-Cola, a sticky, sugary beverage, implies a public shaming, as it would visibly stain her clothing and leave her physically uncomfortable, amplifying the embarrassment. The perpetrators, likely a group of co-workers, act with a sense of impunity, suggesting either a lack of oversight from management or a workplace culture that tacitly tolerates such behavior. The woman's reaction, though not explicitly described, is likely one of shock, anger, or dignified restraint, as her character is positioned as the sympathetic protagonist. This incident underscores deeper themes of workplace harassment, where individuals may face mistreatment based on race, gender, or other factors. The choice of a black woman as the victim highlights racial undertones, pointing to systemic issues of discrimination that the story aims to address through its exaggerated resolution. The Coca-Cola incident is not just a physical act, but a symbolic one, representing disrespect and dehumanization. It sets up the narrative's moral framework, where the injustice she faces demands a powerful response, paving the way for her billionaire husband's intervention. The workplace, as the backdrop, reflects real-world issues of toxic environments, making the story resonate with audiences familiar with such struggles. The racial undertones in the fictional narrative are central to the story's conflict, as the act of throwing Coca-Cola on a black woman is framed as a racially motivated attack. This deliberate choice of a black protagonist as the victim suggests that her race is a key factor in the hostility she faces, pointing to deeper issues of prejudice and systemic racism in the workplace. The perpetrators, presumably her colleagues, target her in a way that goes beyond mere workplace bullying, with the act carrying symbolic weight. Throwing Coca-Cola, a messy, degrading act, can be interpreted as an attempt to demean and other her, reinforcing racial hierarchies or stereotypes. The public nature of the incident, likely occurring in front of co-workers, amplifies its impact, as it subjects her to humiliation in a space where she should feel safe and respected. The story uses this moment to highlight how black individuals may face unique challenges in professional environments where microaggressions or overt discrimination persist. The racial lens also shapes the audience's perception of the perpetrator's motives, casting them as antagonists who act with malice or unchecked bias. While the narrative doesn't explicitly detail their reasoning, the implication is that the woman's race makes her a target, perhaps due to jealousy, resentment, or ingrained prejudice among her peers. This sets up a moral dichotomy, where her dignity and strength contrast with the cowardice of her attackers. The racial undertones resonate with real-world issues, drawing on experiences of workplace discrimination that many black women face, such as being unfairly scrutinized or marginalized. By emphasizing race, the story primes the audience for the husband's dramatic intervention, framing it as a response not just to personal disrespect, but to a broader injustice, making the resolution feel like a stand against systemic wrongs. The arrival of the black woman's billionaire husband in the fictional narrative marks a pivotal turning point, introducing a figure of immense power and influence who shifts the story's dynamic from victimization to retribution. His status as a billionaire suggests vast wealth, likely earned through business acumen, entrepreneurial success, or high-stakes corporate leadership, positioning him as a commanding presence in any setting. The narrative implies that his wife's workplace, a presumably ordinary office or professional environment, is unaware of her connection to such a powerful figure, which heightens the dramatic impact of his entrance. His arrival is timed for maximum effect, likely immediately following the humiliating incident where Coca-Cola is thrown on his wife, catching the perpetrators off guard. The husband's wealth and influence are not just background details, but central to his role as the story's catalyst for justice. He enters the scene with an air of authority, possibly accompanied by visual cues like an expensive suit, a commanding demeanor, or even security personnel, reinforcing his untouchable status. The narrative leans on his billionaire persona to create a stark contrast between the lowly motives of the workplace antagonists and his ability to enact swift consequences. His presence underscores the theme of hidden strength, as his wife, though disrespected, is revealed to be connected to someone with the resources to upend the power dynamics. This twist also serves as a wish fulfillment element, appealing to audiences who crave justice against workplace wrongs. The husband's intervention is not subtle. His wealth empowers him to act decisively, setting the stage for the mass firing that follows. By framing him as a billionaire, the story taps into cultural fascination with wealth as a tool for righting injustices, while his role as a protective spouse adds emotional weight, making his actions feel personal and righteous in defense of his wife's dignity. The swift retribution enacted by the billionaire husband in the fictional narrative is the story's climactic resolution, where he exercises his immense power by firing everyone involved in the Coca-Cola incident. This act of mass termination is immediate and uncompromising, reflecting his authority and zero tolerance for the disrespect shown to his wife. The narrative portrays him as having the influence to single-handedly overhaul the workplace, likely because he owns the company, holds a controlling stake, or has direct sway over its leadership. The firing is not limited to the primary perpetrators, but extends to all complicit parties, potentially including bystanders, supervisors, or anyone who failed to intervene, emphasizing the severity of his response. This broad sweep serves as a dramatic flourish, amplifying the story's cathartic appeal by ensuring no one escapes accountability. The act of firing everyone is both literal and symbolic, representing a cleansing of a toxic workplace culture that allowed such an incident to occur. The husband's decision is portrayed as swift, likely delivered with a commanding statement or a single directive, leaving no room for negotiation or excuses. The scene is designed to evoke satisfaction from the audience, who see the perpetrator's arrogance shattered by the consequences of their actions. The mass firing also highlights the husband's wealth and influence, as only someone of his stature could enact such a drastic measure without hesitation or fear of repercussions. This moment taps into themes of justice and empowerment, offering a fantasy of instant karma for workplace wrongs, particularly those rooted in racism or bullying. By clearing out the entire staff, the husband not only defends his wife's honor, but also sends a broader message about accountability, transforming the workplace into a space where such behavior will not be tolerated. The exaggerated scale of the retribution underscores the story's moral stance, making it a memorable and emotionally charged resolution. The moral and social commentary embedded in the fictional narrative serves as its underlying purpose, using the dramatic Coca-Cola incident and the billionaire husband's retribution to address broader societal issues. The story is crafted to resonate with audiences by spotlighting the injustices faced by the black woman, whose humiliation at the hands of her colleagues reflects real-world experiences of workplace harassment, racism, and gender-based discrimination. The act of throwing Coca-Cola is not just a personal affront, but a microcosm of systemic prejudice. highlighting how black women often navigate environments where they are unfairly targeted or undervalued. The narrative's exaggerated resolution, where the billionaire husband fires everyone, functions as a wish fulfillment fantasy, offering a satisfying stand against such wrongs. This commentary critiques toxic workplace cultures that enable bullying or fail to address discrimination, suggesting that accountability should be swift and uncompromising. The husband's intervention symbolizes the power of allyship and the importance of using influence to challenge injustice, particularly for those in marginalized groups. By centering a black woman as the protagonist, the story amplifies her resilience and dignity, countering stereotypes and affirming her worth in a world that seeks to diminish it. The racial undertones of the incident invite reflection on systemic racism, while the husband's extreme response underscores the need for decisive action against such biases. The narrative also taps into class dynamics, contrasting the ordinary workplace with the billionaire's elite status, which allows him to rewrite the rules in favor of justice. Ultimately, the story's moral stance is one of empowerment, advocating for environments where respect and equity prevail. Its hyperbolic elements make it a compelling allegory, encouraging audiences to confront issues of prejudice and champion change, even if the real-world solutions are less dramatic than a billionaire's wrath.